Hello, fellow developers. Today we are going to make a carousel using React and TypeScript using custom CSS. Here I have my sample template. This is simple template, and let me start it. And here it goes. So I've made it on Vite, and here we can see this is sample project in the starter template. I'm going to use React with TypeScript to make the entire layout. And let me remove this CSS beforehand and this as well. I'm going to use a shortcut command RAFCE. If you don't know how to use this command, you can just go to extensions and type here React E7. Yeah, this is the package which you have to install so that by using RAFCE command, you will be able to get a template, boilerplate code. Once you do it, just remove this CSS. We are going to write our own CSS. I'm going to remove this strict mode, and here it goes. Yeah, our page is perfectly ready for starting the development. And let me do a small remove this index.css and app.css. I'm just starting a sample like removing the predefined padding and margin. So I'm just removing the margin as 0, padding to be 0, and box sizing to be border box. Once I do it, I have to yeah, I have to just import it, then only it will work. /app.css, and here we have index.css, which we have deleted right now, so we don't need this file, and we can successfully delete this. And finally, yeah, we have the sample starting point here, so we are going to make a small carousel with it. Let us begin the development process. So here I'm just going to create a component by the name of Carousel. So I'm just going to create a component folder, and in this component folder I'm just going to create my Carousel. Since it is TypeScript, so we have to write TSX like the JSX format for JavaScript. And once I do it, I just created a sample boilerplate for Carousel. I can just go to app.tsx and import it. So for importing, we just have to remove this app, and we can just write Carousel, and it will self imported here. Once done, we will be able to see Carousel, and from where it is coming from our Carousel page. So if I just write something else over here, you will be able to see it in the layout. So hi, my name is Mohit, and here you will be able to see it. So this is the starting point, and let us begin now. Begin the development process. We have successfully completed the first part, that is reading, keeping the project and the folder structure to be ready for the development phase. Now, if we are to divide it into carousel, if we have to make, so how we are going to make it. So what does carousel mean? Carousel is like you might have seen mm, like Flipkart, and once you go to Flipkart, or yeah, you are able to see these types of carousel. So we are not going to make exactly the same, but we are going to make a simple version of it, and which you can further enhance to increase its capability. So let us begin. First, let us try importing the images. So I'm just going to create a div here. I'm just going to assign it a class name. Why class name? Because since we are writing in TypeScript, and the class usually refers to the JavaScript class. So we are just going to create class name, and by the class name we can just write it like I can just write it. The class name is slides or slider. I can just name it slider. Yeah. And I have to close this open this bracket so that we don't get any errors. Now, let us begin by importing the images. So I'm instead of directly importing or writing to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images and doing it, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create a different variable that will store my all the images. So I'm just going to create image slides or something like this, so that or I can just name it carousel slides. Yeah. And here I can just provide the details like id. I can provide the image name, and I can also provide the alt tag that will represent what type of image it is, and so on. So here you see some error because we haven't, since it is a TypeScript, we have to define the type of carousel slides that we are using. So in order to define it, what we are going to do, we are going to write interfaces carousel slides, and in the carousel slide I can just write like id to be a number, image to be a string, and alt tag to be a string too. Once done, it is super easy to just add it. Here I can just write carousel slides, and it is going to be an array, right? Oh, sorry, not here. Yeah. So let us begin now. Yeah. So also here I need to import it. So s- since I'm not using external components, so I don't need to specify anything here. It will work fine. And here I can just provide the carousel slides like I will go to unsplash, and here I will extract some of the images, free images, and so that we can use it in our carousel. So I'm going to wallpapers, and I'm just going to copy some of the links. So copy as image address. Here I'm going to paste it. Then I'm going to write it image carousel 1. Similarly, I'm going to do it for 3 or 4 images. So let me copy the 3 images for now. So here I have to add an image. Let me change the image now. And I think this image, these 3 or 4 images, we can surely take in our system. So once done, no, I guess, yeah. To take this image, let me take one more image, and yeah, I can take this one. Yeah, let us begin with these 3 images only. We're not going to add more images. We can surely add that later point of time. Now, this is a slider. So what I have to do now, I will just initiate to map function to like iterate all the slides and get our data done. So map slide, and once done, I can just use a div, and I can use image tag for my slide dot image. Similarly for alt tag, slide dot alt, right? And here it will give me an error, so let me provide a key as well to it, slide.id. Yeah, I suppose we will be able to see images on our app. Yeah, we are able to see these three images. Now what we have to do, let me install one more library, that is React icon. So npm I react icons, so that I can add the arrow key, like left and right arrow key, and we are able to see those in action. So React icons, and let me get the arrows now. So arrow, let us see some of the arrows, and I think we can use these arrows here. So I'm just going to copy this and paste it on the top. Similarly for the right. So since we already have an import of IO, we can just add it in separation. So yeah, now let me just import this. So I'm just going to write a div, and here I can just write IO left circle, and similarly here IO right circle, and let's see. Yeah, we are able to see everything. Now let us get all in order, like in one line itself. So I'm just going to create one more file by the name of styles, and here I'm just going to write carousel.css. Let me import it first. So in order to import it, import dot slash style slash carousel.css. Yeah. So once we have added this, I'm just going to assign class name to the parent container. So I'm just writing container over here, and here we can just write container that display as flex. Yeah, we are able to see it. See these arrow and this box. So we have three boxes currently. Let me show you where they are. So we have one box, we have second box, and we have third box. So we have three boxes, and we are able to see all three in order. Now in order to get this to done, so as I said, like we have three boxes here. So we have three boxes here, 1, 2, and 3. Now let us get these slides in order. So in order to get that, what we have to do, let me move this as I don't need this thing. And the I can just assign that display flex to slider 2. So display as flex. Yeah, we are able to see all the slides in line. Now what I have to do, I have to assign it to the middle. So as you can see, these arrows are on the top. So let me make it to the center. So in order to do it, I will just write justify content as center, align item as center. And they are hidden behind it. So in order to bring it, as you can see, we have the right one, but we don't have the left one because these are hidden for now. So don't worry about this. We will get those back. So for now, let us do it directly only. We will do it later on, those things. And yeah, now let us get all the slides back to back, or like one by one. So for that, what we have to do, When on clicking, the next slide should come, and when on clicking left, then first slide should come. Before that, we have to hide all the slides one back to the other. So how to do it? It's pretty simple. So we have the images here. I'm just assigning the class name to it. Class name to it as my slide. And also let me just make it proper one, like so that everyone is on the same way. So in order to do it, I'm just going to write like slide. For now, I'm just writing the width to be 100% and the height to be of 50 VH. Let's see. Yeah, we have all the images in order now. Now, the next step, that is hiding one another. So in order to do it, I'm just going to use a use state of React. So const slide set slide is equals to use state, and it is 0 for now. Since we are on the beginning, and let me create two functions. Like two function, when I'm clicking on the next button, it should go into the next slide, and similarly when click on the previous slide, so it should appear on the previous slide. So how to do it? It's just like when we are going to previous slide, so I'm just next slide, so I'm just going to write set slide, and previous slide, it should be previous slide plus 1. Similarly, for going to the previous button, or yeah, we can write it previous yeah, previous slide, the button works. And yeah, here we have set slide and the previous slide. Let us refrain from using previous, so I'm just going to use previous here, so because it should not be confused with previous slide. And previous minus 1. It should not get confused with previous slide. Okay, yeah, let us begin now. Let's see. I'm just going to assign on click to it. So once here on click is clicked, on click I'm going to write here, and it should be next slide, or it should be the previous slide since it is the left circle, so it should be previous slide, and here it should be next slide. Let's see. Let us try to print it if we are able to see any differences. And here we go. So let me write it out. Yeah, now let us see if we are able to see any differences. Let me refresh so we do not get any errors. And yeah, 0 1 2 3, yeah, we are able to see the slides are changing now. Yeah, so on clicking on back, the slides are changing, and on clicking the next, we are able to retrieve the next slide. Good. And now, in order to get only the image that is on the slide, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to create one more property by the name of dot slide hidden. What it will do, when the slide is not in the action or when it is not active, so we are just going to set it to display as none for now. And when it is in view, I'm just going to display as block. So I'm just going to write it a class name, custom class name, like if also here the slide. So whatever the slide is in action, like we are going to compare this slide with the index key. If it is equal to the index, we are just going to display it. So slide triple equal to idx. If it is true, then the class name will be slide. Otherwise, the class name will be slide and slide hidden. Yes. Okay. Oh, I think I messed up with these names as there are multiple versions of slide being used. So I'm just going to name it image so that let's see now. Yeah, as you see, we are able to see the slides now. When we click on the back button, we are able to see the previous slide. Now, in order to, we should be handling these errors where like when we click on the next button, the thing should start from the beginning. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just write a small, very small function like here only, small little changes. That is, so like if on click this previous slide and then we are just going to set the slide to be 1. So when just going to write it like on click the previous slide, we can write it here. If slide, or better to write it there as well. Here. So once what we are going to do is when once a user clicks on these slides, so once it reaches the end, when our data is at the end, so what we can do here is like we can just pass it like here only like so if data dot length the name is carousel slides, not the data. Carousel slide dot length -1 because it is an array is equal to that our index. Then what we have to do is just we are going to set it like to be 0. So in order to do it, we have to go to this next slide, and here you see this previous button, so we can handle it here itself. Like if the previous equals to carousel slide dot length -1, we are just going to write it 0, whereas it is going to be previous +1. Let's see in action. Let us refresh. Yeah, as you saw, like on the when we reach the last slide, it reaches the first slide. Similarly, we are going to do it for the previous slides too. So in order to do it, we are just going to set if the previous equals to 0. Why 0? Because it's the initial slide. And if the user is trying to reach it here, we are just going to set it to carousel slide dot length -1. Otherwise it will be previous -1. Let's see. Yeah, this things is working perfectly fine. As you can see, here we have our little use case where we have our slider, and let us arrange it now with a good CSS. And in order to do it, we are just going to write the CSS now. So here, as we did, we can just do justify content center and align item to be center. Now, as you can see, we have this buttons as the icons, and now in order to let us increase its size. So class name to be arrow. Similarly, we have to define the class name here. It should be arrow. And let me write a custom CSS for this arrow, like the font size to be 30 pixels. Yeah, and I think it looks good. Beside this, the CSS, I have to define its width. So currently the width is set to 100%, and let me also set it with this container to be 100%. Yeah, and as you see, the width is changing because the width of this is very small, so we have to handle it too. So I can just write it in pixels to handle it. So currently 500 pixels. Yeah, now you can see every image has a proper sizing, proper image. And now let us try to add some small buttons over here that will display which slide is in action right now. So let's begin that process too. Also, if we want these buttons to overlap here, so let us do that as well. So I'm just going to write it position as relative here, and I'm just going to assign the position of to be absolute for them. And now here we have the arrow. Also, I'm just going to write one more CSS to it, arrow left and arrow right. So here we have dot arrow left. So I'm just going to assign it to left is to 1 rem. But it is taking the entire width screen, so I will have to assign it to the previous version. Like so these slides, since this is not in the slide, so the slide should be of full size. So in order to make it of the full size, also I'm just going to assign beforehand to be right to be 1 rem. And here we have our images, but I want it to be a full screen now. So let us do it then. So in order to do it, we have written its pixels here. Also the container here is like 100%. And let me check like where this container reaches. So I'm just going to write background color to be red 25 with, yeah, it is taking the full space. And slider to be width of 100%. and the slide to be of percent. Now there is some issue with it. So here the height to be auto for now. And I might have assigned something else to it. So if I just try to remove this, let's see. And we have to assign it the full width. So in order to do it, let me check the slider background color to it. Yeah, we have the slider to be a full width, only just that the slides are of small width. So in order to change it, we have to like says the it is the full length of this image. So in order to do it, I can like view width. It will not work actually exactly the same. So we have to assign it like 768 pixels, or I can just write it. I just remove this and I just write it has height to be of 100 ph and width to be of 100%. Object fit to be cover. Remove this. In order to like get these slides done, the full screen, so we can do two things here. The first thing is like getting the height property to be 100 ph. But as you see that it is not working. Can you guess the reason and write it down in the comment section that what is the reason behind it? Okay. So the answer here is height at auto. So I've used height two times, so it is taking the height which is the below one. As you can see, this has become a full viewport height. But the width is not full screen. So in order to do it, we can remove this 100% and we can add it view width, viewport width. Yeah. As you can see, now we have a slider which is of full screen, and in order to make it visible, see it's in black color, so we can change the background color to be white for them. And yeah, here they are, background color to be white, or sorry, instead of this we can change it the color to be white. Yeah, now we have clean UI, and we have these buttons that will enable you to make carousels. Now let us add few dots over here which represents the which on which slides we are currently. So in order to do it, it's quite easy. So let me just write a div, and here I'm just giving the class name to be indicators for carousel, and I'm just going to map over them. So in order to map over them, so what we have to map is just like as you can see, we have these carousel slides. So we want the same number of dots to be over there. So carousel slides dot map, and I can just write it slide. So for each slide, what do we want? We want a button. So there is a button which are present over here. So let me provide the key to it. Also, let me just provide an ID to it. So we get to know on which slide we are currently. Yeah, I guess we are able to do it. Now, let us get them in a order. So in order to do it, I can just write small things here. Like I can just provide this div indicator div as flex. So in order to do it, let me just write it indicators to be a display of flex. And I can also position it. So let me make it position as absolute for now. And we are able to see three dots here. Also, let me set it bottom to 1 rem. Yeah, we are able to see these three dots now with these three buttons. And I can just provide it like height 0.5 rem, width to be 0.5 rem, and border radius to be of 100% to make it round. And if I just refresh, yeah. And let us set some margin to it so that it is evenly spread. So 0.5 rem. So there is something missing, which because of which it is not taking the things here, because I'm just providing to the indicators here. Okay, it is referring to the ID, but we don't have to see to it. I can just provide it. So these carousels, as you can see, these are the indicators, and inside we have multiple buttons here. So I can just provide a div to it so that since it is, yeah, and we can just provide. So as you can see here, we have this indicator. So can you tell me the reason why we are able to see these as like intact? So there is one simple reason for it, because here as you see, we have carousel slides as mapped, and we are taking the main component indicator instead of taking the buttons as the indicator. So in order to do it, we can just pass it simply like dot indicators and button. So for every button, we have a height, width, and border radius and margin. I'm just going to remove it from here and just going to pass it over here. Once done, we are able to see very small buttons. So in order to do it bigger, so we can just write it 1 rem here and 1 rem here. Yeah, we have very nice buttons now. And I can just provide the background color to be gray for all of them. So to be gray. And I'm just going to pass as one more class by the name of active. So what will happen when so I'm just going to write a very small class name here. So what it will do, so if the slide equals to idx, that is our index, if that happens, then we are going to write a carousel button or carousel button and carousel active. button. Let's see the styles for this, and so just writing here is background color to be white, and here let me write the style, same style here. Instead of active, I just need a carousel button here. And can you guess like why is it white for everything? It's a very simple question. As you can see here, when the slide and the index. So are we mapping that or are we mapping something else? So here slide refers to an entire array, but we want the ID. So can we do something like something else? Yeah. So the reason for this is like we are importing the entire slide, which is an array, which shouldn't be the case. We should not be importing the entire slide to be an array. So what should be done here is we can just rename it, or we can just, for now, like for the slide, we can just rename it. I'm just going to write an image because this slide is our use state one, this use state one, and we should not get it confused with the images that are coming in. So now when we see it, so here we're able to see all these slides as a, but there is one more thing here, like so there is, I think, yeah, there's something is active button. Yeah. Why it is opposite? Because we have by mistake just carousel active button. It should be not in the no condition. It should be in the yes condition. And now you will be able to see the active slide. But this doesn't have the functionality of like when we go to the next slide, it should be changing. So what should be done here? Like in order to do it, we can just simply write down. So in order to do it, we can just simply like write on click event to it. So on this button, so on click, and we can just set our slide to be index. And let's see the magic now. Yeah, we are able to see all the slide and this carousel is perfectly working. Now when we hover it, so we are able to change the slide, and accordingly the lower is also changing. And this is how we are able to make a small slider, and I hope you enjoy it a lot, and this will help you to create small sliders and simple sliders in your web project. Thank you everyone for staying till the last, and please do not forget to like, comment and share this video so that everyone can take the benefits of this. Thank you everyone.